All right, so if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe and like. And one thing I gotta say that I have a sense of respect for Tia and Cory that most people don't want to express. A lot of people are giving Cory a lot of praise, as well he deserves. But I think Tia deserves praise in a sense too. She's showing what it's like to make a mistake and to try to make the best out of that mistake you made. Now, as far as I can tell, in the rest of the world, nobody really knows why she decided to leave Cory. I know there's little clips here and there saying how she felt alone and all this other kind of stuff, but from anybody can tell, there was no physical use, there was no verbal use. It just seems like it was just a lot of people who just grown apart, and a lot of the time, what we don't realize, the people that can help us grow apart or separate ourselves from our spouse are our friends. Now, there was a clip I watched where T was out at dinner with a couple of her friends, and one of her friends was talking about how she was divorced and been single for 9 years, almost a decade. And I feel like that's the friend that was in Tia's corner when she was talking about how unhappy she was and talking about getting divorced. She just gives me that energy because a lot of the time, whenever you're in a serious relationship, when you're in a marriage, if you have a friend that's 304, if you have a friend that's have an open marriage or cheating or doing all kinds of stuff like that, they're not normally going to encourage you to do the right thing by your spouse. And even when Tia said in that, and it's very hard to find that clip now, surprisingly, when she actually did say, I regret divorcing my husband, they try to talk all that really, really fast. Like, no, no, there's no regrets, all this other kind of stuff. And I still remember when Tia said that, she missed dating and how it was beautiful and, how she was courted and all this other kind of stuff. Keep in mind, Tia Mowry is still a gorgeous woman, right? I've had a crush on her since I was probably 13, if I'm being honest with you. She's just gorgeous and she just seems very quirky. And I like quirky women, you know? But let's be 100% honest. You find a man that's willing to date you for 5 years, 5 years before y'all become intimate. And for what we could tell, he didn't cheat. He wasn't talking to other women. He was solely focused on her, did things the right way, went to her family's house, and proposed to her in front of everybody. That's very rare to find nowadays. So are you meaning to tell me that you want somebody to court you again for 5 years? I think she's like 45 now when she's 50 and get proposed to again. I'm not saying Tia Mowry is not a great catch because she most likely would be for anybody that she would date. But, when you're in our age group, because I'm hitting 40 myself soon, when you're in that age group, most men and women don't want to sit there in court and wait that long of a period to show how much they like you, how much they love you, how much they appreciate you, they want to be with you. Typically speaking, most people they are out after 3 days. If it comes around 3 days and y'all haven't done anything in a physical sense, most people are just gonna walk out and leave. And that's just the way the world is right now. Couple that with people, they don't buy relationships like they used to. I remember back in the day, you would see a lot of people married. And this is before the world of dating apps, before the world of the red pill, before the 304 culture. I mean, yes, we had people that were doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and but it wasn't as publicized to where you see it on your phone, on the TV, the radio, everywhere else, right? Not in our music and all this other kind of stuff. You saw people that actually wanted to be in relationships. It's kind of like if you really think about it, R&B music back then couldn't be played today and be as popular because nobody values a man or a woman in that sense to where they want to make a full song dedicated to them, how much they want to be with them and court them, and how they want to, make love to them. Now it's just kind of like a lot of sexy red crap. That's why I can't stand this music in a sense that helped destroy our generation. That's just me going on a rant at this point. So when I see Tia talking about, hey, I was courted, it was beautiful, and all this other kind of stuff, Yes, it very was. But if you're going to still have those same friends that love that single mindset, it's going to be very hard for you to find another man. Because it sounds like they kind of helped you get away from your man. Now, one thing I've always found kind of interesting was people would diss Cory for no reason, right? And I remember I was going through a little research and I was going to do some video clips. I just didn't feel like it today. Um, I saw this on Instagram. They had a lot of likes and stuff too. When I say Instagram, but it say X. I just don't like saying the word X when it comes to websites. It just feels dirty. I'm not gonna lie. Even the way Cory dressed in pics with Tia Mowry didn't match her style at all. She was so sophisticated and stylish, but he always looked like a man child. He was always in a hat, tracksuit, trainers, while she pretty much I can't talk. While she would be in a pretty dress and heels. Now, these are the same women before Cory got his Tyler Perry deal would say that he was using her for her money and all this other kind of stuff, but yet they're insulting the man for how he's dressing. Now, keep in mind, if he was dressed like Kevin Hunter, Whitney Williams' husband, the man who wanted to buy all these expensive champagnes and shirts and suits and all this other kind of stuff, if he was dressed like that and using her money, women would complain about that too. So you're going to complain for a man who is with a woman that makes more and lives off her a little bit or helps support her money or should be their money since they're technically married. But when he doesn't and he dresses within his means of the income that he brings in, you still complain and say they're not a match. Never mind how you may treat her. Never mind how he's a good father or a family man. They just care about their appearance. So when Cory finally does get up and he starts making more money, now I'm just going to scroll through his Instagram really fast. He dresses like a person who is a millionaire essentially on his own right. He's spending his money on himself. And that's another thing. You know, as men, we want our women to look pretty. I remember when I was married, I would buy dresses and stuff for my wife. I would buy, many dresses and shirts and stuff I wanted her to look good in because I always liked my wife to look good at the time. Even when we were out, I never minded my wife looking, grown and sexy while we were out in play when she was with me. But I didn't like that whenever she went out for friends, You have no reason looking grown and sexy with your friends, quote unquote, especially the friends who are hoes, compared to your own husband. So now that he's, been acting, he does the All American thing, he's doing the Tyler Perry movies. I think he has like a 7-movie deal, I want to say. He's up his lifestyle, how he dresses and how he looks and what he does. And there's nothing wrong with that. You see, time brings about a change. And when that change comes, you got to be patient. You got to wait. You got to be disciplined. Not every single blessing happens right away or when they're young. Tia was lucky. I'm not going to say she was a one-hit wonder and she just had that one show. She did movies here and there, a lot of Disney movies and things of that nature. But the large part of her success came when she was really young. It just took Cory a lot longer to get to his. And when his finally hit, she was gone. Like literally right after she left, he hit and got on. And that's just how it works sometimes. Sometimes with a person, we see their potential, you see they're working for it, and we get impatient and we leave. And I'm not saying that's what happened in that circumstance. We don't know why they divorced. But when you're on TV talking about how you kind of regret it, and you're on TV talking about how you want to be courted like your husband once courted you, you're on TV saying all this kind of stuff, how bad the quality men are because they're putting grills on tables and things of that nature. You kind of got to ask yourself, did you let the guy that was perfect for you go because of the imperfect people around you? And I think we do that a lot. We let these people into our marriages. And that's the key part there. Whenever you're married, and I'm not talking about for a serious relationship because it's not serious if you're not dating to be married. But if you are in a serious relationship, right? If you are in a serious relationship, a long-term relationship, and you are married, like engaged and married, once you start becoming engaged, that's when the times you got to really look around and see who's in your life and do they still need to be there. And a lot of the time, people will know who needs to be in our life while they're dating them. I can honestly say, when I found a woman I wanted to marry, that I automatically took an inventory of the people I had in my life, the men and the women, and I started cutting them out. There were guys that I was cool with for years, even before I met my wife. However, though, I knew what kind of lifestyle they were living. I knew they were cheating on their wives. I knew they were lusting over other women. I knew they were undercover in some cases. I knew they were doing stuff that I didn't want any influence in my life, in or around my wife. So I was like, you know what, let me cut these guys out. And as far as women goes, that's just that's just what it is. You know, most of the time you got to cut a lot of women out of your life when you're a friend, especially if you know there's like an undercover tension there. Y'all just never acting on it. So why risk it, right? Because for some reason, it seems like a lot of women want to go after men once they get married. So, and I say that because I still remember I had a conversation with my ex-wife, and she was encouraging me to hang out with one of my friends that I used to know, and we used to hang around and stuff like that. And I would always tell her, no, I'm not interested. No, I never said anything bad about him nor put his business out there. So eventually she just got mad. She said, well, how come you just don't go hang out with him? And I was like, I'll be honest with you, because, you know, he's been cheating on his wife. So why would I want to be around somebody that's doing something that I don't agree with? I'm a married man now. I'm a newly married man. I don't want that. I don't want that influence. And then once I said that to her, she was like, oh. However, though, you know, I'm just going to leave it there. But I kind of went off on a tangent there, and I apologize. To bring it back full circle, he didn't use her for her money, it looks like. He didn't use her for connections because, in realistic speaking, you haven't seen Tia in a big screen movie role. It's all been like smaller productions for Disney and things of that nature. So he worked himself up, made his own connections, and, you know, he's doing very well now. And I'm kind of curious, is part of that regret that Tia has now, that she said herself, is it in part because she sees the success that she's been waiting for? I'm pretty sure she's been waiting for him to blow up. I'm pretty sure she has been by his side saying, like, hey, you didn't get this role, just keep your head up, keep going. I'm pretty sure she was a very supportive wife. I cannot look at Tia Mowry and say she was not a supportive wife or woman to Cory. I refuse to believe that, especially being together for, 20 some odd years, courting for 5, losing your virginity, I think she said at 25, having kids with the man. I refuse to believe she was not a supportive wife. So that's why I say I kind of respect Tia in a lot of sense, because she wasn't out here being a 304. She wasn't out here being disrespectful. Yeah, she's talking a lot of stuff that sounds a little crazy, but is it really that bad? You hear so much stuff out there now about how women treat men, how they disrespect them. You don't really hear that from her. And is it? Can we say she's being a little too optimistic about wanting somebody to court her in 2024 when she's older with 2 kids? Yes, a little bit. Because it's not because she's not attractive. It's not because she doesn't have a great personality. It's because she's a divorced woman with kids. And a lot of women don't seem to understand that when it comes to a divorced woman with kids, 9 times out of 10, the woman's going to have custody of her kids. So you're going to sit here trying to, it's not this YouTube courting and get to know each other. You guys try to court, get to know her, make time for her, and then try to get to know and make time for her kids. And that's very hard and difficult, because if one kid likes you and the other one doesn't, you got to deal with that. If both kids don't like you, you got to deal with that. And if you get lucky, if both kids do tend to like you and everything works out good, great. But then you got to think about the baby daddy. I'm not saying Cory is a bad man, but any man's going to be protective and like, who's this man around my kids? We all hear horror stories about step parents and all this other kind of stuff. So it's one of those things. It's very difficult for a man to really want to put up with the potential of so much going wrong when you're trying to court to get to know somebody, compared to when you're younger, like when they met when she was 20, it was just those two. So those two got to be able just to travel. They got to be able just to hang out, watch TV, go for walks, just go out to a restaurant, go out to a play, just do whatever they wanted to, because it was just them two. There was nobody really in the way, unless I don't know, maybe her sister was trying to play interference, which I doubt. But it was just those two. So they got to truly got to enjoy and know each other and build that connection. My mouth's getting a little tired. So I've been doing a lot of talking here, but I just think that Tia, in a sense, sometimes deserves a little grace. Because if what she's saying is true, and so far Cory hasn't came out and said anything different, she truly has only been with one man. That's all she knows. So if you truly just been with one man, that's all you know, and you're out here trying to go out and date again, that's got to be scary and a little bit complicated. And the fact that you're going to have the things I said before, ex-husband and 2 kids and, being older, a lot of men going to look at that and be like, do I really want to invest in that? Because I'm investing in something that's already been, their prime has been taken away. But that's just my opinion on it. I really do think that if she does get into a new relationship, her friend that I was talking about, she's been single for 9 years and she has a learn to get through the huddles. I mean, all this other kind of stuff. She's not somebody she should listen to for advice, considering she's still been single for 9 years. And we see this influx of women that are just single and they're getting more and more bitter out there. And I don't want to see that for Tia Mowry. I don't want her to be one of those bitter women. I don't want her to be like Vivica A. Fox or Lisa Ray or any of those women. I just want Tia to stay Tia. The sweet, quirky woman that just has like a really good positive outlook on life. At least that's what it comes off as. But I'm starting to notice, and what's being presented out there, the longer she's out there talking about dating and being single and what out there, it's kind of ruining her in a sense to where she's starting being viewed as just a negative woman, a negative problematic woman. Oh man, it's been a long day. Anyways, that's all I really want to say about this. I do think that eventually, if I'm being 100% honest, from what I can tell, she does want her husband back, right? But her pride is getting in the way of trying to make it right. Cory, for what I can tell, has never said anything bad about her and says he still loves her and wants her to succeed. When you have two people that have genuine love for each other, that's not going to talk bad about each other, there is a path back. But it's going to have to take Tia to swallow her pride and try to make it right. Because again, if Cory can court her for 5 years, before they even really went all the way, then he deserves for her to swallow her pride and try to get back in his good graces. She deserves that because not too many men are willing to do that, to wait 5 years. Like I said before, I know men that won't wait 3 days or 3 weeks. Anyways, if you haven't subscribed already, please do. You guys tell me what you think, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you.